After staying untraceable for more than 30 hours, Jharkhand CM Hemant Soren magically appeared in Ranchi today. Now, the raids that were being conducted by the Enforcement Directorate started at 7 a.m. last morning and it continued till 11:30 p.m. In that raid, several incriminating documents were recovered by the Enforcement Directorate, and not only that, but also cash amounting to rupees 36 lakh rupees was also recovered from his residence. Not only this, but two BMW vehicles were also seized by the Enforcement Directorate. One BMW vehicle was parked right outside his residence, which was searched by the Enforcement Directorate, and another BMW was recovered from another location that is still the location has still not been disclosed by the Enforcement Directorate. Now remember, Hemant Soren has already been summoned at least 10 times by the Enforcement Directorate because there are several incriminating facts and documents that the ED needs to confront with in the ongoing investigation in the alleged land grab case that the Enforcement Directorate is investigating at this point in time. Now, over the past 7 to 8 months, Hemant Soren has already declined all the summons that have been issued to him by the Enforcement Directorate. Now, finally, on the 20th of January, on the 8th summon, Hemant Soren gave the time to Enforcement Directorate to come to his residence in Ranchi and interrogate him, or probably ask him to join into the investigation. That interrogation went on for at least 7 to 8 hours, in which several questions were asked to him. Post that, the Enforcement Directorate issued another summon in which they had said that that there are some more questions that needs to be asked to the Chief Minister, and hence he should present himself in front of the investigating agencies yet again. But the last communication that happened from the side of Hemant Soren was on the 28th of January, where he said that he would present himself in front of the Enforcement Directorate on the 31st of January, that is tomorrow at 1 p.m. at his residence in Ranchi. But ED salutes got to know on specific inputs that Hemant Soren is out here in the national capital, and they thought that it is the best chance for them to actually go ahead and interrogate him, because according to sources within the Enforcement Directorate, they had recovered some more documents, some more facts that needed urgent confrontation with the Jharkhand Chief Minister. But to the surprise of the Enforcement Directorate, Hemant Soren was not found over there. And post that, for the next 30 hours, Hemant Soren was absolutely untraceable. Neither the ED had any idea where Hemant Soren was, or neither the JAMM had come on record, or the CM office from Jharkhand had come on record and told where the Jharkhand CM was, what were his programs, where was he present. Now remember, Hemant Soren actually came to the national capital in a private charter flight. But that charter flight is still stationed at the Delhi airport, whereas how did he reach back to Ranchi? That is still a big mystery. That mystery has still not been answered. So a lot of questions needs to be answered by the Jharkhand Chief Minister. Especially trouble seemed to be mounting on him after the recoveries that have happened happened in the search operations that were carried yesterday by the Enforcement Directorate. Now, the Jharkhand Chief Minister has not only to answer about the ongoing investigation and how he was, if he had any idea that something like this was happening, where lands that belong to the army and Adivasi land parcels, they were handed over to land mafia at a very cheap rate, and not only to the land mafia, but these were eventually sold off to people who were very close confidants of Hemant Soren himself and his wife as well. All these questions needs to be answered, because remember, more than 14 people have already been arrested in this entire matter. There has been a long investigation that has already taken place in this entire matter. But still, Hemant Soren has managed to dodge the bullet and make sure that he does not come and get investigated by the Enforcement Directorate, because yes, it is true that the power that the Enforcement Directorate has under the PMLA Act is definitely very towering, and stringent action can be taken by the Enforcement Directorate before giving any sort of prior information. And that is the reason why we have seen that Hemant Soren initially went to the Jharkhand High Court and then to the Supreme Court to seek some sort of relief. But from both the sides, his applications got rejected and he had to lose the case, and no relief has been given to him in any way or any manner by either of the courts, either the Jharkhand High Court or the Supreme Court of India. Now tomorrow is the day that is going to be very interesting, because the Enforcement Directorate is going to go ahead and ask Hemant Soren about his whereabouts, and not only about his whereabouts, his involvement in this entire alleged scam, and also the money that has been recovered, if this 36 lakh rupee is something that is accounted for or is it unaccounted money. According to the sources within the Enforcement Directorate, the two BMWs that have been recovered, these BMWs were actually got into the hands of Hemant Soren as proceeds of crime. So now Hemant Soren will have to prove if at all these BMWs are something that has been gifted to him by someone, or are they actually proceeds of crime, because if he fails to do so, then both these vehicles would be attached to the by the Enforcement Directorate. So yes, troubles are going to mount for him, but this is the investigation angle that has happened till now. Politics has also peaked up in this entire matter. Now, since the time Hemant Soren was untraceable, the BJP didn't leave a stone unturned in propagating this message that Hemant Soren has in fact escaped, or in fact has gone underground to escape from the grasp of Enforcement Directorate, because he is corrupt and he knows that strict action could be taken against him. In fact, senior leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party from Jharkhand, be it for former Chief Minister of Jharkhand Babulal Marandi or Union Minister Nishikant Dubey, they had put out posters of Hemant Soren that he has gone missing, and even had announced a bounty of rupees 11,000 or a prize money of 11,000 on the on whoever is the person who gives any sort of clue as to where is Hemant Soren. But today, magically, Hemant Soren appeared in Ranchi. Post that, there was a meeting that happened at his residence in which the MLAs from all his parties, all the parties that are supporting him, were invited. And in that meeting, one thing was very, very interesting, that his wife was also present. Now, the speculations are rife that if at all any stringent action or cohesive action is taken by the Enforcement Directorate against Hemant Soren, then his wife would be the person who would be in charge of Jharkhand and who could be the next Chief Minister of Jharkhand. So, a lot of political speculations are already happening. Political to and fro has already started. ED is continuing with its investigation. They are very, very sure that they have the facts that needs to be confronted with the Jharkhand CM, so that this entire investigation could go ahead in the right direction, in the right manner. So tomorrow is going to be a very, very interesting day. Will Hemant Soren now allow the Enforcement Director to enter his house and question him? Because last time around, what we saw happening in Ranchi was absolutely shocking, because the manner in which the pressure building tactics had started, in which we saw how the senior leaders of JMM and thousands of supporters of Hemant Soren and JMM had actually blocked the entire street outside the residence of the Jharkhand CM while ED was interrogating him. Is that something that is going to happen tomorrow as well? That is something that remains to be seen. On the other hand, the local administration is also making sure that the law and order situation remains under control. Section 144 has been imposed at the ED office in Ranchi, at the CM residence in Ranchi, and at the governor office in Ranchi as well. Also, 14 DSPs have now been transferred to make sure that law and order situation remains under control. So, how will the Jharkhand administration now manage the crowd and the senior leaders who would try to gather yet again and try to build some sort of pressure on the salutes of Enforcement Directorate who are going to go ahead and interrogate Hemant Soren? That is something that remains to be seen. What will be the next action that the Enforcement Directorate is going to take against Hemant Soren? Is it going to be some sort of cohesive action? That is something that remains to be seen. And if at all Hemant Soren would actually answer the questions that are needed by the Enforcement Directorate to actually make sure that this investigation is solved at the earliest and the investigation goes on in the right direction, that is something that will be answered tomorrow. So tomorrow, 31st of January, is probably going to be the most interesting day in this entire investigation. Till then, all hopes still lie as to how the next 12 to 13 hours are going to be and what steps can the JMM take now to make sure that the Chief Minister stays safe.